Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors Academy, the place where we not only talk about what's going on in the gun world, but also how we're going to fix it together. And the content that we're going to talk about tonight is something that I picked up from CNN of all places. Did Biden just throw in the towel on his executive overreach and gun control quest from the White House? This is going to be an interesting. There's a little bit of that. There's a little bit of gun control extremes in the Senate. There's all sorts of things. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and everything is linked in the description box, per usual. And if you are new or you are a returning viewer, please consider hitting that like button, subscribing to the channel, and making sure you turn that notification bell on. We need as many of you as possible to get into the fold to help spread this information out so we can pass the blessing of the Second Amendment along to the next generation. And thank you so much in advance for your consideration. And the content tonight is brought to you by a new sponsor, Fume. I'm going to say a quick word by them, and then we are going to hit it. Cold turkey may be a great thing to have on your sandwiches, but it's not the best thing to have to break a bad habit. We're talking about our new sponsor, Fume, and they look at the problem through a different way. Fume is an innovative and award-winning design. Instead of electronics, it's completely natural. Instead of using vapor, it uses flavored air. And instead of using harsh chemicals, it uses all natural flavors. In my own personal experience, Fume actually surprised me a little bit. The make, the weight, the way you can fidget with your hand, and also just the quality of materials is something that you guys need to check out. Stopping something is something we all put off because it's hard, but switching to Fume is easy, enjoyable, and even fun. Fume has served over 100,000 customers and has thousands of success stories, and there's no reason that can't be you. Join Fume in accelerating humanity's breakup from destructive habits by picking up the Journey Pack today. Head to tryfume.com/Langley or scan the QR code and use code Langley to get 10% off when you get the Journey Pack today. There's a link right down in the description box, and thank you so much to Fume for sponsoring this episode's content. All right, my brothers and sisters, as I mentioned in the introduction, we have got to talk about Biden possibly reaching his own perspective of gun control overreach, the limits thereof. This is going to be an interesting one. Let me know what you guys think. Let's get into it because CNN has got some interesting things they're uncovering. Lawmakers reluctant to pursue gun control measures following Nashville school situation. We know it's a tragic situation. It's a terrible situation. But that has not wasted time for the left because they got to push for their gun control. Doesn't matter the appearance of how it looks to do that and politicize it that early. We got to do it anyway because we have a goal to achieve. But let's continue. I'm not going to spend too much time on that, as you guys can clearly tell where I feel about it. Biden on Tuesday told CNN's MJ Lee, quote, "I can't do anything except plead with Congress to act responsibly," end quote. Can't do anything. This is coming from a guy who is so far has done an executive order for all debt suspension for college across the board. He's done an executive order to infringe upon people's rights around the old situation. Then he's done ghost gun regulations through executive order. And then he's done ATF pistol brace rules through executive order. All of these things are done through the executive order process, utilizing the DOJ, utilizing the CDC, ATF, all the bureaucracies in the executive branch. And yet, now he can't do it. Isn't that interesting? Let's keep going. Quote, "I have done the full extent of my executive authority to do on my own anything about guns." Anything about guns. That's interesting. "The Congress has to act. The majority of the American people think having assault weapons is bizarre. It's a crazy idea. They're against that. And so I think that Congress should be passing an assault weapons ban," he added. Now, what's interesting to me right off the bat, and this is why I'm covering this, you had someone who's gone from ban them now, I'm going to write executive orders, do everything within my power, consistently infringe, as I mentioned on the list prior, and now, all of a sudden, he's reached the list and the limits of his power with executive fiat. Something sounds a little fishy. Don't get me wrong. I'm not an advocate for what he's done so far and what he would do in the future. But now he's leaning on Congress really heavily. Now, that could be because the court system is handing him backhands left and right for all of his executive overreaches. Or it could be that all of a sudden he had a clarion's call and it's not within his purview. I doubt that's the case. But something's going on because his allies are not taking the exact same thing. But listen to CNN as they basically rehash what he's done so far. Biden has taken more than 20 executive actions on guns since taking office, including regulating the use of ghost guns and sales of stabilizing braces that effectively turn pistols into rifles. Not true. He also signed a bipartisan bill in 2022 which expands background checks and provides federal funding for so-called red flag laws, although it failed to ban any weapons and fell far short of what Biden and his party had advocated for. Again, Harken back about a month ago when that was being lauded as the best, most sweeping gun control reform that's ever existed because Biden touched it. You see the juxtaposition? They can't have their cake and eat it too. And now all of a sudden, he's reached the limit of his authority. I wonder what happened. Let me show you. I'm going to keep on going because this is really interesting. And House Majority Leader Steve Scalise, this is a Republican from Louisiana who survived being shot in 2017, demurred when he asked if the most recent school shooting in Nashville would move Congress to address any sort of reforms. And this is a very good statement. Quote, "I really get angry when I see people try to politicize it for their own personal agenda." Chris Murphy, Richard Blumenthal, Dick Durbin. Anyway, especially when we don't even know the facts, he said when he asked if the conference was prepared to do anything to address the spate of mass shootings, mentioning only improving mental health and securing schools. Oh, we're going to get to that too in a second when the whole securing school thing where the Democrats killed that in the Senate when Ted Cruz introduced it. Republicans introduced it. Democrats killed it because the only way is their way. The only way is gun control. We'll keep going. Quote, "Let's get the facts and let's work to see if there's something that we can do to help secure our schools," he added. "We've talked about things that we can do, and it just seems like on the other side, all they want to do is take guns away from law-abiding citizens. And that's not the answer, by the way. That is the crux of the problem. They want the gun control as the only solution. They will allow the status quo because they don't want to improve on the situation. They want the situation to continue until they get their gun control. Make no mistake, if it was truly about solving the problem, they would be open to all solutions. But they're not. They're only willing to talk about infringing upon the entire nation's gun rights. That's the only solution. Anything else is heresy. Anything else is crazy, beyond the pale. All the while, these problems continue to persist, and they reject and kill hardening of school bills that I'm going to show you coming up pretty quickly. Anyway, let's continue. I got one more thing for you because this is what the Senate Democrats are saying. Connecticut Democratic Senator Richard Blumenthal called on Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer to force a vote on a semi-automatic weapons ban to put Republicans on the record. It's not really that difficult. They're on the record already. They said no. Quote, "We need a fight in Congress, and I'm prepared to conduct that fight. Others are as well," he told CNN. "And ultimately, the American people deserve to know where each of us stands on common sense gun violence prevention," which is interesting because he was there also when Chuck Schumer never brought up the assault weapons ban that passed the House in 2022. He never brought up H.R. 8 and H.R. 1446. All the gun control that was lauded as the way forward, like straight Mandalorian style, never even made it to the Senate when they had full control of the chamber. Just saying. Schumer would not say whether he intends to put legislation banning assault weapons on the Senate floor for a vote this Congress. This part, there is nowhere close to enough support to overcome a legislative filibuster, which is the whole point of the problem. They cannot do this. They've never been able to do this. They have not been able to overcome the legislative filibuster since Biden's inauguration, and yet they still try to do this. It's almost like they're looking for funding versus actually looking to solve a problem. As you can tell, this kind of irritates me. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I will see you on the next one. I'm Braden. See you later.